The space station Meridian floated silent in the darkness between stars. Jake Morrison walked through the market district checking his watch. Every few steps, aliens of different species moved past him. Some had scales, others had fur, and many had skin colors no human had naturally. Jake was just a maintenance worker on the station. He fixed pipes and repaired electrical systems. Nothing special about him except that he was one of only 50 humans among thousands of other beings. Humans were new to the galactic community and most species thought they were weak. The market buzzed with activity today. Vendors sold strange fruits that glowed and meats from animals Jake could not name. He liked walking here after his shifts. The smells and sounds reminded him that he was really in space living a dream he had since childhood. A crash echoed from 3 stalls away. Jake heard screaming and the sound of weapons firing. His training kicked in from his days as a soldier on Earth before he came to space. He ran toward the danger while everyone else ran away. 3 pirates in black armor surrounded a tall figure. Jake saw flashes of silver hair and heard the ring of metal against metal. The pirates were attacking someone with electric batons, trying to overwhelm their target. The tall figure fought back with incredible skill. She moved like water flowing around attacks. Her long sword sang through the air, but 3 against 1 was unfair odds. Even Jake could see she was getting tired. Without thinking, Jake grabbed a metal pole from a nearby stall. He had not fought in 2 years, but his body remembered the training. He swung hard at the nearest pirate, hitting him in the back of the head. The pirate dropped instantly. The tall figure spun around and Jake gasped. She was an elf with pointed ears and violet eyes that seemed to glow. 2 small dragons sat on her shoulders, one blue like the ocean and one green like emerald stones. The dragons hissed at the remaining pirates. Elf woman used the distraction Jake created. She moved faster than his eyes could follow. Her sword cut through one pirate's armor like butter. The last pirate tried to run, but the blue dragon flew after him, breathing a stream of blue fire. The pirate screamed and fell. Jake stood there holding the metal pole and breathing hard. The elf woman walked toward him. She was at least 7 feet tall with muscles visible under her silver armor. Up close, he could see her face was beautiful but also dangerous, like a weapon made into art. "You save me, human," she said, her voice musical but strong. "Why would you risk yourself for a stranger?" Jake lowered the pole and shrugged. "Because it was the right thing to do. 3 against 1 is not fair." The elf woman studied him for a long moment. The dragons on her shoulders did the same. Their eyes were intelligent and curious. The blue one chirped softly. The green one tilted its head. "I am Luna of the Starweaver clan," she said with a slight bow. "These are my companions, Starfire and Cosmos." She pointed to the blue then green dragon. "You are either very brave or very stupid." "Human, my name is Jake Morrison," he replied. "And probably both brave and stupid." Luna laughed. The sound was rich and warm. Other aliens in the market started to peek out from their hiding spots. Some whispered and pointed at Luna with fear in their eyes. "Those pirates wanted my dragons." Luna explained, "Dragon blood has special properties. It can make someone live for hundreds of years longer. Many would kill for such a gift." Jake felt sick at the thought. Anyone who would hurt these beautiful creatures for their blood deserved what they got. The dragons seemed to understand him because they both chirped approvingly. "Come," Luna said. "I owe you a debt. Let me buy you a drink and we can talk." They walked to a small bar at the edge of the market district. Other patrons quickly left when Luna entered. She did not seem to notice or care. The bartender, a 4-armed creature, served them drinks with shaking hands. "Why does everyone fear you?" Jake asked after taking a sip of the strange blue liquid. Luna smiled, showing perfect white teeth. "My people are known as warriors. We conquered many worlds before joining the Galactic Council. Most species remember those days with fear, but you do not seem evil," Jake said without thinking. Luna laughed again. "Am I not? I just killed 2 beings in front of you. They were trying to hurt you and your dragons." Jake countered. "That was self-defense, not murder." The Blue Dragon Starfire suddenly jumped from Luna's shoulder. He landed on Jake's arm and climbed up to his shoulder. The dragon weighed about as much as a cat but radiated warmth. Jake froze, unsure what to do. Luna gasped, her eyes wide. Starfire, what are you doing? She reached for the dragon, but he hissed at her and snuggled against Jake's neck. That is impossible. Starfire has never left me for another person. Never in 300 years. 300 years. Jake asked, carefully petting the dragon. How old are you? Luna smiled. I am 412 years old by your Earth counting. My people live much longer than humans. We can reach 2,000 years if we are not killed in battle. Cosmos. The green dragon now joined his brother on Jake's other shoulder. Both dragons purred like cats, their warm bodies pressed against him. Luna stared in complete shock. This cannot be happening, she whispered. My dragons are bonded to me alone. They should attack anyone else who touches them. Yet they treat you like family. Jake carefully stroked both dragons, feeling their smooth scales. They made happy sounds and rubbed their heads against his cheeks. I have always been good with animals, he said. Maybe they can tell. I would never hurt them. Luna leaned forward, studying him closely. There is something different about you, Jake Morrison. Something my dragons can sense that I cannot. She paused, then added, my father would find this very interesting. Something in her tone made Jake nervous. Who is your father? Luna sighed. He rules our clan and several star systems. He believes humans are parasites that should be removed from the galaxy. If he knew my dragons accepted a human, he would be furious. Jake felt the dragons tense on his shoulders. They could sense his sudden worry. We should keep this secret then, he suggested. Luna nodded, but her eyes stayed on him with an expression he could not read. Yes, we should, but I want to know more about you. Jake Morrison. Meet me tomorrow at the observation, deck level 12 at sunset. I have questions only you can answer. She stood to leave and the dragons flew back to her shoulders. Both looked back at Jake and chirped sadly. Luna paused at the door. Thank you again for saving me, human. You did something. Very foolish, but very noble. My people respect such actions even from your kind. Then she was gone, leaving Jake alone with his drink and racing thoughts. He had no idea that his simple act of helping someone would change his life forever. The universe had suddenly become much more complicated and much more interesting. Jake could not focus on his work the next day. Every pipe he fixed and every wire he connected, his mind wandered to Luna and her dragons. His supervisor noticed and asked if he was sick. Jake said he was fine, just tired. The observation deck on level 12 was the most beautiful spot on the station. A massive window showed the swirling colors of a nearby nebula. Ships came and went like metal fish swimming through space. Jake arrived early and waited. Luna appeared exactly at sunset station time. She wore different clothes today, a flowing dress that sparkled like stars instead of armor. The dragons perched on her shoulders as always. Their eyes found Jake immediately, and they chirped happily. You came? She said, sounding surprised. Did you think I would not? Jake asked. Luna sat beside him on the bench, close enough that he could smell something like flowers and lightning. Most humans would run after learning who my father is. Yet here you are. Jake watched a cargo ship drift past the window. I do not scare easily. Besides your dragons like me, that has to count for something. Luna smiled and Starfire jumped to Jake's shoulder again. The blue dragon purred and settled down like he belonged there. Cosmos soon followed. The weight of both dragons felt comforting. Tell me about your life, Luna said. How does a human soldier end up fixing pipes on a space station? Jake rubbed Cosmos behind his tiny horns, making the dragon rumble with pleasure. I joined Earth's Defense Force when I was 18. Fought in the border conflicts when we first met other species, but I got tired of fighting. Wanted to see the galaxy without pointing a gun at it. So I learned station maintenance and came here. Luna listened without interrupting. Her violet eyes never left his face. And your family? Jake shrugged. My parents died when I was young. Car accident. No siblings, no wife or children back on Earth. I am free to go wherever I want. A warrior without a clan. Luna said softly. We are alike in that way. I, too, am alone. My mother died in battle when I was young. My siblings see me as competition for my father's throne. They would celebrate if I disappeared. The dragons made sad sounds and nuzzled against Jake's neck. He stroked them gently. Why do you stay? If your family treats you badly. Luna sighed and looked at the nebula. Because leaving would mean abandoning my dragons. My father controls access to their breeding grounds. Without his permission, they cannot mate. Starfire and Cosmos might be the last of their kind if I run away. That is terrible, Jake said, anger creeping into his voice. Using innocent creatures to control you. Luna touched his hand. Her skin was warmer than a human's, almost feverish. You understand? My father sees everything as tools for power. Even his own children. But there is more I must tell you. She stood and walked to the window. Jake followed with the dragon still on his shoulders. Luna placed her hand on the glass and closed her eyes. Tomorrow my father arrives at this station, she said quietly. He is coming to take me home. A marriage has been arranged with another clan's warrior prince. Someone who will strengthen our political position. Jake felt something twist in his chest, though he did not understand why. You do not want to marry this prince, Luna laughed, but it was bitter, not warm. I have never met him. I am just a piece in my father's game, a way to gain more power and territory. My wants do not matter. The dragons flew back to Luna and wrapped themselves around her neck like a scarf. They sensed her sadness. Jake wanted to comfort her, but did not know how. They had only met yesterday, but he felt connected to her. There might be a way to help. He said slowly. I know people smugglers who move cargo without questions. They could get you away from here tonight. Luna turned to him, her eyes wide. You would do that for me. Your authorities would punish you if they found out. Helping someone escape an arranged marriage violates several treaties. Jake stepped closer to her. Some things are more important than rules. You should have the freedom to choose your own life. Everyone deserves that. Luna studied his face like she was memorizing it. You barely know me, Jake Morrison. Why would you risk so much? Because it is right, Jake said simply. And because your dragons trust me. If these amazing creatures think I am worth knowing, then you must be worth helping. Luna moved so fast, Jake could not react. She pulled him into a hug that lifted his feet off the floor. Her strength was incredible, but she held him gently. Her body radiated heat like standing near a forge. You beautiful fool, she whispered in his ear. You have no idea what you offer. She set him down, but kept her hands on his shoulders. The dragons chirped and danced around them, seeming excited. Luna looked at them, then back at Jake, Starfire, and Cosmos. Want you to come with us, she said suddenly. They have never bonded with anyone but me, yet they sing for you. Dragons do not sing for just anyone. Jake felt his heart racing. Leave the station. Go with you and the dragons. But where would we go? Luna smiled, and it transformed her face from dangerous to radiant. Anywhere we want. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders. I have money hidden away from my father, enough to buy a ship and supplies. We could explore planets no one has mapped yet. The offer was insane. Jake had known this woman for one day. He had a job here and a safe life. But when he looked at the dragons and saw the hope in Luna's eyes, the decision felt easy. Yes, he said. Let's leave tonight. Luna kissed his forehead. Her lips felt like fire against his skin, but not painful. It was some kind of ritual or blessing. He could tell by how the dragons reacted. They flew in circles around them, singing, "We need to move fast," Luna said. All business now. My father's scouts are already on the station. They will report to him if they see anything suspicious. Meet me at Docking Bay, 7 at midnight. Bring only what you cannot live without. Jake nodded, his mind already racing through plans. He had few possessions that mattered. His old service weapon, some clothes, and a photo of his parents. Everything else could be replaced. What about your dragons? Jake asked. Can they travel safely? Luna smiled. They are tougher than they look. Dragons can survive in space for short periods, and their bodies adapt to any environment. They will be fine. She turned to leave, then stopped. If you change your mind, I will understand. This is dangerous. My father will hunt us. He is killed for less than this betrayal. Jake met her eyes without flinching. I gave my word I will be there. Luna nodded once, then swept out of the observation deck, her dress flowing behind her. The dragons looked back at Jake and made sounds, like laughter. Jake stood alone, watching the nebula swirl. He had just agreed to throw away everything stable in his life for a woman he barely knew. It should have felt wrong or scary. Instead, it felt like the first right decision he had made in years. He went to his quarters and packed quickly. The photo of his parents went into his jacket pocket. His service pistol went into a hidden holster. Some clothes and basic supplies fit in a small bag. He left a resignation message for his supervisor, claiming family emergency at 11:30. Jake made his way to Docking Bay 7. The station was quieter at night cycle, but not empty. He kept to shadows and maintenance corridors, paths he knew from 2 years of work. Luna waited by a small cargo ship. Her armor was back on, and the dragons looked alert and dangerous. She smiled when she saw him. I wondered if you would come, she admitted. Jake walked up to her, and the dragons immediately flew to him. They seemed to check him over, making sure he was unharmed. I said I would be here. Humans keep their promises. Luna touched his face gently. Then let us go before my father's warriors realize I am gone. The cargo ship was old but well maintained. Luna knew the captain, a reptilian creature named Corax, who owed her a favor. He asked no questions when she brought Jake aboard, just showed them to a small cabin, and told them to stay hidden until they jumped to hyperspace. The cabin had one bed and barely enough room to stand. Luna sat on the floor with her dragons. Jake took the chair. They could hear the engines warming up and feel the ship preparing to leave. Tell me more about your father, Jake said to break the nervous silence. Luna stroked Starfire's scales as she spoke. Lord Theron Starweaver is 800 years old. He has ruled our clan for 5 centuries. Every decision he makes is about power. He has 12 children from 4 different wives. I am the youngest and the only one who refuses to obey blindly. The ship shuddered as it detached from the station. Jake gripped the chair arms. Luna seemed unbothered by the movement. The dragons curled up together on the bed, watching everything. Father conquered 17 systems before the peace treaties, Luna continued. He killed thousands, maybe millions. But the council forgave him because our technology was valuable to them. Now he rules through politics instead of war, but he is just as ruthless. Jake heard footsteps in the corridor outside. Their door stayed closed, but his hand moved to his pistol. Luna noticed and shook her head. Just crew, she said. My hearing is better than yours. No danger yet. The word yet worried Jake. How long? Before your father knows you are gone. Luna checked a device on her wrist. 3 hours, maybe 4. His warriors report to him at dawn cycle. They will find my room empty and my credit accounts drained. He will be furious. The ship jumped to hyperspace, and Jake felt his stomach flip. The sensation never got easier. Luna stood and sat next to him on the small bed. The dragons crawled into her lap. You should know something, Luna said quietly. My father has a rage you can speak of when he is angry. He destroys things. Cities have burned because someone insulted him. Ships have been torn apart because they flew too close to our world. He will not accept my defection. Jake met her eyes. Then we make sure he never finds us. Luna smiled sadly. He will. Never stop looking. I am not just his daughter. I am a symbol of his power. If I can run away successfully, others might try. My siblings might rebel. The colonies might seek independence. He cannot allow that. So we keep running, Jake said. And we find allies. There must be others who oppose him. The dragons suddenly sat up alert, their eyes fixed on the door. Luna grabbed her sword, which had been leaning against the wall. Jake drew his pistol. The door exploded inward. 3 warriors in silver armor rushed in. They moved impossibly fast, but Jake had trained for this. His pistol fired 3 times. Each shot hit center mass. The warriors stumbled, but their armor held. Luna moved like lightning. Her sword cut through the first warrior's neck before the body hit the floor. She spun and drove her blade through the second warrior's chest. The third warrior tried to grab her, but Starfire breathed blue fire into his face. The warrior screamed and fell. More footsteps in the corridor. Luna grabbed Jake's hand and pulled him up. "We need to go." Now they ran into the hallway and found chaos. Someone was attacking the ship. Warriors in silver armor were everywhere fighting the crew. Korax, the captain, was down with blood pooling beneath him. Luna pulled Jake toward the escape pods, but two more warriors blocked their path. She pushed Jake behind her and raised her sword sister. One warrior said, removing his helmet. It was another elf with the same silver hair as Luna, but Male Father knew you would run. He sent us to watch every ship leaving the station. Brother Luna replied coldly, "Let us pass. This is not your fight." The male elf laughed. Father promised, "Whoever brings you back will inherit the northern colonies. That is worth fighting for." He attacked. With incredible speed, Luna met his blade with her own. The sound of their battle rang through the ship like bells. Jake wanted to help, but could not match their speed. The second warrior circled around, trying to flank Luna. Cosmos flew at the second warrior's face, breathing green fire. The warrior cursed and swatted at the dragon. Jake saw his chance. He shot the distracted warrior 3 times in the same spot. The armor finally cracked and the warrior dropped. Luna's brother snarled and charged. At Jake, Luna tried to stop him, but he was too fast. Jake raised his pistol, but knew he would be too slow. Then Starfire did something impossible. The little blue dragon grew. He expanded from cat-sized to horse-sized in seconds. His cute chirp became a roar that shook the walls. He grabbed Luna's brother in massive jaws and threw him down the corridor. Luna stared in shock. "Starfire, that is not possible. You are too young to take battle form." The dragon shrank back to normal size and chirped innocently. Cosmos tried to copy his brother, but only managed to double in size before shrinking again. Questions later, Luna said, grabbing Jake again, "Escape pods now." They reached the pods as more warriors appeared behind them. Luna shoved Jake into one pod and jumped in after him. The dragons flew in just as the door sealed. Luna hit the launch button. The pod shot away from the cargo ship. Jake could see through the small window that 2 other ships had attached to it, like parasites. They were shaped like daggers and clearly military. "Those are my father's ships," Luna said bitterly. "He was watching me the whole time. This was a trap." The pod spun through space and Jake felt sick. Luna held him steady with one arm while programming their trajectory with the other. The dragons huddled together, making worried sounds. There, Luna pointed at a planet ahead. Class 7 world, breathable atmosphere, but barely colonized. "We can hide there until I figure out our next move." Jake watched the military ships. They were not following the pod. Yet that seemed wrong. "Why let them escape?" "Luna, your brother said you would inherit colonies if you returned." Jake said, "What happens to those colonies if you die?" Luna went very still. "They would be divided among my siblings." "Why do you ask?" Jake pointed at the ships. "They are targeting the cargo vessel. But some weapons are turning toward us. They do not want to capture you. They want to kill you and blame it on your escape attempt." Luna looked and cursed in her language. The pod had no weapons and limited maneuvering. They were sitting ducks. "Give me your pistol," Luna commanded. Jake handed it over without question. She opened a panel and started rewiring something. The pistol sparked and hummed differently. "What are you doing?" Jake asked. "Making a very small jump drive," Luna said. "It will only work once and probably destroy the pod, but it might get us to the planet's surface alive." The military ships fired energy beams, streaked past the pod, getting closer with each shot. Luna connected the last wire and the pod lurched. "Hold the dragons," Luna shouted. Jake grabbed both dragons and pulled them against his chest. The pod seemed to stretch and twist. Reality went sideways for a moment. Then they were in atmosphere, falling fast. Luna grabbed the manual controls and fought to steady their descent. The pod screamed in protest. Ground rushed up at them. Jake could see forests and mountains and a settlement in the distance. "We are coming in too fast," Luna said through gritted teeth. "This is going to be rough." The dragons buried their heads in Jake's jacket. He held them tight and watched Luna fight the controls. Her strength was incredible, but even she could not change physics. They hit the ground hard. The pod bounced and rolled and finally came to rest against a cliff. Jake tasted blood and his ribs hurt, but he was alive. The dragons crawled out of his jacket, dizzy but unharmed. Luna kicked the door open and pulled Jake out. They stood in a forest of purple trees, with 2 suns setting in an orange sky. The air smelled like copper and rain. "We need to move," Luna said. "Those ships will send ground teams." Jake looked at the wrecked pod, then at Luna, who was checking her sword and armor. Starfire and Cosmos flew circles around them, keeping watch. "Your family really wants you dead," Jake said. Luna smiled grimly, but her eyes were sad. "Welcome to clan politics, Jake Morrison. Now you see why I wanted to leave." They heard engines in the distance getting closer. Luna took Jake's hand, and they ran into the purple forest. The dragons flew above them, singing what sounded like a war song behind them. The pod exploded, removing any evidence of their landing. But Jake knew it was only buying time. The hunt had begun, and they were the prey. The purple forest was dense and alien. Jake had never seen trees that grew in spirals or leaves that chimed like bells when the wind touched them. Luna moved through it all with grace, while Jake stumbled over roots that glowed faintly in the growing darkness. They had been running for 2 hours. The dragons flew ahead, scouting, and returned with chirps and gestures that Luna somehow understood. She would change direction based on their reports, always moving deeper into the wilderness. Jake finally had to stop. His ribs screamed from the crash and his legs shook. Luna noticed immediately and guided him to a hollow tree that formed a natural shelter rest. She said, pulling medical supplies from her armor, "Dragons keep watch." She lifted his shirt, without asking, and examined his ribs. Her fingers were gentle, but Jake still winced when she touched the bruised areas. Purple and black marked his entire left side, 3 ribs cracked, not broken. Luna diagnosed. She pulled out a device that looked like a pen. "This will hurt." The device hummed and Jake felt heat spread through his chest. The pain was intense but brief. When it stopped, he could breathe easier. Luna nodded, satisfied. "Your people heal slower than mine," she said. "But you endure pain. Better? My warriors would be crying from those injuries." Jake managed a weak smile. "Humans are stubborn. We do not know when to quit." Luna sat beside him, closer than necessary for the small space. The dragons landed outside the hollow, keeping guard. She pulled off her helmet and her silver hair spilled down. "Tell me something, Jake. Why did you really help me that first day in the market?" Jake thought about it. "I grew up reading stories about knights and heroes who protected people who needed help. When I became a soldier, I thought I would be that hero. Instead, I fought wars over mining rights and trade routes. Nothing noble about it." He paused, then continued. "When I saw you fighting alone, something inside me woke up. Here was a chance to be the hero from those childhood stories, even if just for a moment." Luna stared at him with an expression he could not read. "You wanted to be a hero, so you attacked armed pirates with a metal pole. When you say it like that, it sounds stupid." Jake admitted. Luna laughed softly. "No, not stupid. Beautiful humans are perhaps the only species that still believes in heroes. Mine gave up on such ideas centuries ago. We fight for power or survival, nothing more." Starfire flew into the hollow and chirped urgently. Luna tensed and grabbed her sword. Jake checked his pistol, which had only 3 shots left after Luna modified it. "How many?" Jake whispered. Luna listened to sounds Jake could not hear. 8 warriors. 2 tracking beasts. They are still searching, but getting closer. Jake knew their odds were bad. 8 trained warriors with advanced weapons against 1 tired elf and an injured human. "We need a plan." Luna looked at him with something like regret. "I have one, but you will not like it." Before Jake could ask, she pulled him close and kissed him. It was not gentle like her previous blessing. This was fierce and desperate. When she pulled back, Jake saw tears in her violet eyes. "What was that for?" he asked, breathless. Luna stood and stepped outside the hollow. In case I do not get another chance, stay here and stay quiet. No matter what you hear, do not come out. Jake grabbed her arm. No. We fight together or run together. Do not do something noble and stupid. She smiled and touched his face. My brave human, you taught me about heroes. Now let me be one. Luna pulled free and walked into the forest. The dragon stayed with Jake, though they clearly wanted to follow her. Starfire actually sat on Jake's chest to keep him from getting up. Jake heard Luna call out in her language, then he heard her father's warriors respond. The sounds of battle erupted, swords ringing and energy weapons firing. The ground shook from some impact. Every instinct told Jake to help, but Starfire would not move. The little dragon was much heavier than he looked. Cosmos guarded the entrance, hissing at the darkness. The battle sounds moved away from their hiding spot. Luna was leading the warriors away from him. Jake understood her plan, but hated it. She was sacrificing herself to save him. Then the sounds stopped completely. The forest went silent except for those chiming leaves. Jake waited, heart pounding. Minutes passed like hours. Finally, Starfire got off his chest. Jake scrambled out of the hollow, despite the dragon's protests. He had to know what happened to Luna. He found her 100 yards away, surrounded by fallen warriors. Her sword was broken and her armor was cracked. Blood ran from dozens of wounds. But she was standing. Luna saw him and smiled. Then she collapsed. Kay ran to her and caught her before she hit the ground. Up close he could see how bad her injuries were. Deep cuts covered her arms and legs. A burn mark crossed her chest from an energy weapon. Why did you come out, Luna? Whispered blood on her lips. I told you to stay hidden. Jake pressed his hands against the worst wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. Because I do not abandon friends. Luna coughed and more blood appeared. Friends? We have known each other 2 days. Best 2 days of my life, Jake said, meaning it. Now stop talking and save your strength. The dragons landed beside them, making distressed sounds. They licked Luna's wounds, and Jake saw something amazing, where their tongues touched the bleeding. Slowed dragon saliva, Luna explained weakly. Has healing properties, but it only works a little on non-dragons. Jake heard more engines approaching his pistol. Had 3 shots against however many warriors were coming. He looked at the dragons who were exhausting themselves, trying to heal Luna. Then, he remembered something Luna had said. Dragon's blood could extend life and grant strength. If their saliva could heal, maybe their blood could do more. Starfire, Jake said urgently, looking at the blue dragon. I need your blood to save her. The dragon tilted his head, then seemed to understand. He extended his small leg toward Jake. Without hesitation, Jake used a sharp piece of Luna's broken sword to make a small cut. Blue blood that sparkled like stars dripped out. Jake let the blood fall onto Luna's worst wounds. The effect was immediate. The cuts began closing and her breathing steadied. Cosmos offered his leg next, and green blood joined. The blue Luna gasped, and her eyes opened wide. What did you do? Jake helped her sit up as the dragon's blood continued working its magic. Saved your life with your dragon's help. Luna looked at her rapidly healing wounds in amazement. Dragon blood does not work this way. It should poison me unless. She stopped and stared at Jake. Unless someone they bonded with gives it freely. The engines were getting louder. Jake helped Luna stand, though. She was still weak. They needed to move, but she grabbed his face. You could have run. Luna said. Jake Morrison, you could have left me and saved yourself. Why? Jake met her eyes. Because heroes do not run, and neither do I. Luna kissed him again, softer this time. Thank you. They heard warriors crashing through the forest toward them, but also something else. A different engine sound coming from the opposite direction. That is not my father's ship, Luna said, confused. A human shuttle rose above the trees. Its spotlight found them, and a voice called out through speakers. Jake Morrison. This is Captain Amy Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We received your emergency beacon. Jake pulled out his service pistol and realized the modification Luna made had turned on its emergency transmitter. Earth forces had been tracking it. The shuttle landed between them and the approaching warriors. Soldiers in power armor jumped out laying. Down covering fire, Captain Chen, a short woman with steel gray hair, gestured at them. "Move your asses," she shouted. "We are violating about 12 treaties being here." Jake supported Luna as they ran to the shuttle. The dragons flew alongside them as they boarded. Jake saw Luna's father's warriors emerging from the forest. They stopped at the edge of the clearing, unwilling to fire on a human military vessel. The shuttle lifted off, and Jake saw the lead warrior remove his helmet. It was an older elf with silver hair and violet eyes, exactly like Luna's. He stared up at the shuttle with an expression of pure rage. Luna saw him too and whispered, "Father Lord." Theron Starweaver watched his daughter escape with the humans. His hand raised as if to order an attack, but then lowered. The shuttle entered orbit where a human destroyer waited. Captain Chen looked at Jake and Luna with a mixture of amusement and annoyance. "So Morrison, want to explain why we just extracted you from a diplomatic incident? That could start a war." Jake looked at Luna, who was still holding his hand. Her dragons perched on their shoulders, purring contentedly. "It's a long story," Jake said. "But the short version is I was just doing the right thing, Captain." Chen snorted. "Right. Thing nearly got you killed, but Command wants to debrief you both. Turns out the daughter of Lord Starweaver requesting human asylum is big news." Luna squeezed Jake's hand and looked at Captain Chen. "I formally request protection from Earth government. My father tried to kill me, and this human saved my life multiple times. I am willing to share information about my clan's military capabilities in exchange for sanctuary." Captain Chen raised an eyebrow. "That is definitely going to start something. But not my call. We will let the diplomats sort it out." The human destroyer Valiant was larger than Jake expected. It could hold a crew of 300 and had weapons that could crack a moon. The medical bay where they took Luna was state-of-the-art. Jake sat outside while doctors examined her. The dragons refused to leave his shoulders. They had not left him since the forest. He could feel their worry through some connection. He did not understand. Captain Chen brought him coffee and sat down. "You know Morrison. You have caused a galactic incident, Lord. Starweaver is demanding we return his daughter and execute you for kidnapping." Jake sipped the coffee, grateful for something familiar. "She was not kidnapped. She ran from an arranged marriage and assassination attempt." Chen nodded. "I believe you. The recordings from your modified pistol prove the attack, but the Starweaver clan has significant political power. They could make things difficult for Earth. Then Earth should do the right thing anyway," Jake said firmly. "Luna deserves freedom and safety." Chen studied him. "You really care about her after knowing her 2 days." Jake thought about everything that happened. The fight in the market, the observation deck conversation, their escape and crash, the battle in the forest. Luna almost dying to protect him. "Yes," Jake said simply, "I do." The medical bay door opened and Luna walked out. She wore a human medical gown that was too short for her tall frame. Her wounds were completely healed thanks to the dragon's blood. The dragons flew to her, chirping happily. The doctor followed, looking confused. "By all rights, she should be dead," he said. "That amount of trauma would kill most species, but she is perfectly healthy now." Luna smiled at Jake. "Dragon magic with human help." Captain Chen stood and gestured down the corridor. "The Admiral wants to speak with you both about your asylum request and the situation with your father." They followed Chen to a conference room. A hologram of Admiral Rebecca Foster appeared. She was an older woman with sharp eyes and silver hair, pulled back severely. "Lady Luna Starweaver," the Admiral began, "I have been in communication with your father. He is threatening to withdraw from 3 trade agreements and close his space to human vessels if we do not return." Luna stood straighter. "I am not surprised. My father uses threats like others use words. But Admiral, I have information that might change your position." The Admiral raised an eyebrow. "Continue." "My father plans to attack human colonies within the year." Luna said, "He believes humans are becoming too powerful too quickly. He has been building a secret fleet in the outer systems. I know the locations and defensive capabilities." Jake stared at Luna, shocked. She had not mentioned this before. The Admiral leaned forward. "That is a serious accusation. Can you prove it?" Luna pulled a data chip from her armor. I copied his files before I left. Everything is here. Ship numbers, weapon specifications, attack plans. He was going to use my marriage alliance to secure his flank before attacking. Captain Chen whistled softly. This changes everything. The Admiral nodded indeed. Lady Luna, we will grant you asylum and protection. You will need to testify before the Council, but Earth will support you. Thank you, Admiral, Luna said with visible relief. The Admiral turned to Jake. Mr. Morrison, you have also put yourself in danger. Lord Starweaver has put a bounty on your head. 10 million credits, dead or alive. Jake felt the dragons tense on his shoulders, but he stayed calm. Then I guess I need to stay with Luna for protection. Luna actually laughed at that. The Admiral almost smiled. There is one more thing, the Admiral said. The dragons you carry are the last mating pair of their species. Lord Starweaver claims them as clan property. They are not property, Luna said fiercely. They are living beings who chose their bonds. Starfire and Cosmos bonded with Jake as much as me. That is dragon law, older than any government. The Admiral considered this. The Council will want proof of this bond. Starfire suddenly grew to his battle form, filling half the room. His voice was deep and rumbling when he spoke, surprising everyone. Human. Jake is our chosen, the dragon said. He gave his blood to save our bonded Luna. We sing for him as we sing for her. Any who try to separate us will face dragon fire. Then he shrank back to cat size and chirped innocently. Chen stared with her mouth open. Did that dragon just talk? They talk when it matters, Luna said proudly. And only in battle form. Usually they prefer not to waste words. The Admiral cleared her throat. Well, that certainly counts as proof. We will make sure you all stay together. Earth could benefit from having dragons as allies. The meeting ended and Chen showed them to quarters they would reach Earth in 3 days. Through official channels, Lord Starweaver could do nothing but rage Luna, and Jake stood in the quarters looking at each other, the dragons curled up on the bed already asleep. This is not how I expected my week to go. Jake said. Luna stepped close to him. Mine either. But I am glad I was wrong about something. What is that? Jake asked. Luna touched his chest over his heart. I thought humans were weak. But you are the strongest person I have met. You faced my fathers, warriors, knowing you would likely die. You gave dragon blood to save me without knowing if it would work. You chose what was right over what was safe. Jake covered her hand with his. You did the same thing, leading those warriors away from me, fighting 8 of them, alone to protect me. Luna smiled. We make a good team. Jake pulled her closer. Yes, we do. They kissed as the stars streamed past outside. Their dragons purred in their sleep. The universe had become dangerous, but also full of possibility. 3 days later, they stood before the Earth Council. Luna testified about her father's plans. Her evidence was overwhelming. Earth began preparing defenses and reaching out to other species who also feared the Starweaver. Clan Lord Starweaver arrived personally to demand his daughter's return. He stood in the council chamber, 7 feet of barely controlled rage. His violet eyes found Jake in the crowd and promised, Death. Luna is my daughter. He said, property of Clan Starweaver. The dragons are clan property. This human has stolen from me. Luna stood to face him. I am not property, father. I am a person with the right to choose, and I choose freedom. I choose Jake Morrison. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Lord Theron's face turned purple with rage. You would choose a human over your own blood. Luna took Jake's hand and pulled him to stand beside her. This human showed more honor in 2 days than you have in 8 centuries. He saved me, protected me, and nearly died for me. The dragons chose him. That speaks louder. Then Blood, Starfire, and Cosmos grew to battle form, flanking Jake and Luna. Their combined presence made even Lord Theron step back. The council voted. Earth granted Luna full asylum and recognized her marriage declaration to Jake by dragon law. The dragons were declared free beings, not property. Lord Theron left swearing vengeance, but he could not act openly. The political cost would be too high. His plans for war were exposed, and other clans moved against him. He had lost his daughter, his dragons, and his secret advantage. 1 year later, Jake and Luna stood on a colony world watching their dragons play in a field. The dragons had found others of their kind, hidden on remote worlds. The species would survive. Luna wore human clothes now, but kept her sword. Jake wore his old service pins on a civilian jacket. They worked as scouts, finding new worlds for human and elf cooperation. You know, Jake said, watching the dragons chase each other, "Your father still wants me dead." Luna laughed. "He wants us both dead. But he cannot reach us here. Too many allies now. Too many friends." Jake wrapped his arm around her. "Remember when you told me to be brave?" Luna leaned into him. "You grabbed that chance and changed everything." "Actually," Jake said, "I grabbed. You, and your father was definitely watching." Luna kissed him while the dragons sang around them. He was watching, and he saw a human be braver than any of his warriors. That is why he truly hates you. You proved humans are not weak. Jake smiled, looking at their life together, the dragons, the adventures, the freedom they had won. Maybe humans are not weak. Maybe we are just brave enough to do what is right. Luna took his hand as they walked toward their ship and their next adventure. Brave, stubborn, and absolutely wonderful. That is what you are. Jake Morrison. The dragons flew overhead, breathing streams of blue and green fire that painted the sky. They sang of freedom and choice, and the human who grabbed a chance at love without knowing he would change the galaxy. As their ship lifted off, heading for unknown stars, Jake thought about that day in the market. A simple choice to help someone in need had led to all of this. Sometimes being brave meant fighting. Sometimes it meant running. But always, it meant choosing love over fear. Luna piloted while Jake planned their route. The dragons curled up between them, purring with contentment. Ahead lay the vast galaxy full of danger and wonder. Behind them, Lord Theron still raged, but his power was broken by a single human who dared to love his daughter. And in the space between stars, two dragons sang an ancient song about heroes who were brave enough to grab their chance at happiness, even when the whole universe was watching.